Here's something most men will never truly grasp. Validation isn't an act of kindness. It's a form of chemical influence. A woman's brain is hardwired to seek it. Not occasionally, but continuously. Every word of praise, every admiring glance, every message that reinforces her value sparks a dopamine rush nearly identical to that of a drug. And that's not just metaphorical. It's grounded in neuroscience. But here's the part no one tells you. Like any drug, validation loses its edge when it becomes routine. Compliment her all the time, and her brain adapts. The thrill disappears. Her sensitivity dulls. You think constant praise will draw her closer, it won't. It will render you invisible. Men who get this don't pursue, they adjust. They understand that scarcity drives desire, while predictability breeds disdain. When you withhold validation, her mind enters a searching state. She begins to pursue. Not because you're playing games, but because you've introduced what her nervous system is wired to respond to. Uncertainty. Think of validation like a financial account. Most men overdeposit. They heap on compliments hoping for affection in return. They act like supplicants. That's a critical error. A man of value lets the account fluctuate just enough to keep her invested, but never so much that she feels complete assurance. This is the essence of the 70-30th principle. Spend 70% offering attention, affirmation, and presence. Withdraw the other 30%. You return to your own pursuits not from indifference or disregard, but because you're not there to be consumed. You look amazing tonight. Make it specific. Make it sincere. Let it feel earned. You always look good. That's not passion. That's static. Don't recycle the same empty praise every man gives. That doesn't stir her soul. Instead, celebrate her intellect when it cuts through the noise. Acknowledge her originality when she builds something meaningful. Admire her strength when she chooses the harder path. These are the affirmations that strike deep, because they validate her essence, not just her image. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology named it. Power isn't in giving endlessly, it's in giving wisely. Validation is a currency. Spend it like an investor, not like someone tossing his last chip into a void. But tread carefully, there's a fine line between intrigue and emotional neglect. Too much absence makes her distant. Too much availability makes her indifferent. The art is in the cadence. Nourish her, but never overfeed. Let her feel you, but not possess you. That's not cruelty, it's precision. If this resonates, it's because you're ready for it. Most men never get here. They keep chasing illusions, but you don't have to if you choose a different path. Stick around, what's coming next will unravel an even deeper illusion. The second emotional void is more dangerous than validation. It's tied to what every woman claims she wants, but what quietly erodes attraction the moment she receives it. Stai alert. You're on the verge of discovering a truth most men were never given the chance to understand. Emotional gap number 2. Her dependence on uncertainty. This is the snare that traps most men, and they fall into it with open arms. They assume that security is what she wants. That being steady and always available is the way. They reply instantly. They organize every detail. Then they're stunned when she pulls away. What she claims to desire often kills her attraction once it's in her grasp. She speaks of comfort. She mentions dependability. But biologically, her nervous system craves something different, the unfamiliar. It's not sweetness that excites her. It's tension. It's spontaneity. It's the feeling she cannot anticipate and the version of you she cannot command. Certainty stifles her hunger. Routine deadens her body. Safety, when given too easily, doesn't comfort her, it bores her. You've witnessed it. The man who's too quick to respond. The one who gives her every ounce of his time. The one who unveils every plan for the future. She doesn't feel secure. She feels indifferent. Absolute transparency ends attraction. There's a psychological term for this, the Zeigarnik effect. The mind obsesses over what's unresolved, the unanswered questions, the unfinished tales. Women are no different. If she can anticipate your every move, If she hears your words before you speak them, her mind flatlines, and a quiet mind is a disengaged one. The most magnetic men don't over-explain. They don't narrate their days. They simply live them. They reveal just enough, never the full picture. Their lives are not open scrolls, but coded stories. You don't hand her the ending, you make her follow the narrative. 70% revealed, 30% obscured. That isn't manipulation, that's mastery. When she asks about your history, offer glimpses. Let her imagination color the rest. When she questions your future, share the vision, not the strategy. True power lies not in what's shown, but in what's reserved. A prince who discloses all his plans loses his crown before battle begins. A man who's fully readable loses his edge. Mystery isn't a tactic, it's a byproduct. You're constructing something genuine. You're not here to impress. You're here to evolve with or without her. If you're fabricating stories or crafting drama, that's not mystery, that's insecurity. The man she cannot decipher isn't acting, he's building. He's not available for dissection because he's immersed in purpose. She asks how your day was. You respond, had a meeting that might change a few things. Then you leave it at that. No explanation, no elaboration. Now her mind starts racing. What meeting? What changes? What's shifting? She becomes a question, and you're the answer just out of reach. This isn't about games. This is about biology. Offer tension, not trivia. Give direction, not a map. Speak in suggestions, not summaries. She isn't skimming through your diary. She's deciphering your presence. But mystery without depth is meaningless. There must be weight behind your quiet. There must be reality beneath the obscurity. You don't pour the whole glass. You offer a taste, then step away. One drop answers one question and provokes 5 more. You have 90 days not to impress her, but to demonstrate that your silence is meaningful, that your mystery has direction. If you fail, it turns into frustration. If you succeed, it becomes obsession. She starts thinking about you in your absence, replays your words when alone, second guesses herself, looks for your energy in every silent room. That's the switch. She's no longer the one pursued, she becomes the one who pursues. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't plead. You become the quiet question that lingers in her mind, and you never had to raise your voice. Emotional gap number 3. The power of female competition. This one strikes hardest, not because it's uncommon, but because it's ancient and repressed. This is the third emotional trigger, the one that transforms passive curiosity into active fixation. The one women rarely talk about, yet every instinct in their biology responds to. She may never say it, but nothing amplifies her desire more than witnessing other women want you. You're not merely attractive, you're affirmed. This isn't romance. It's primal rivalry. Her nervous system gauges your value through social competition. Pay close attention. A glance from another woman, a shared laugh that isn't hers, a moment when your focus isn't on her, and suddenly, everything changes. The man she once categorized as just a friend now feels like a challenge. Her brain flips the switch. If other women are drawn to him, then surely there's something worth discovering. Millennia of conditioning push her toward what others pursue. Nature doesn't reward the unclaimed, it favors the man who's already chosen. Think this is new? It predates spoken language. It's hardwired into mating psychology. Civilization masks it, but it's the same instinctual game. When a man is rare, not always reachable, her mind assigns him worth. It's not arrogance or trickery. It's raw, evolutionary signaling. He has options and he picked me. That thought echoes beneath her awareness and keeps her hooked. Machiavelli understood this truth. A prince with only one ally is exposed. A prince sought after by many wields influence. The same idea holds in relationships. The man admired by many, yet devoted to few, is the one who earns loyalty without asking for it. This isn't about flirting. It's not about manufacturing jealousy that's amateurish. This is about being a man who draws attention naturally, because his life is rich, because his purpose is visible, because his presence earns respect. In any crowd, you don't chase. You attract. Women feel safe approaching you. They ask for your opinion. They laugh freely around you, and she watches closely. She observes how others are drawn into your orbit. She takes in every cue and assesses her standing. You don't boast. You don't embellish. You let the atmosphere speak on your behalf. You're respectful, never vulgar, charismatic, yet controlled. You show her this. You are the type of man women are naturally drawn to. But you chose her, not because you lacked alternatives, but because from all the possibilities, she was the one worth pausing for. That distinction means everything. When she senses you're not guaranteed, when she realizes your attention isn't permanent, something shifts. Her nervous system moves from contentment to desire. She starts to contribute, to secure her place in ways she never needed to before. You didn't ask. You didn't push. You simply elevated yourself beyond grasp, and her instincts took over. Retention isn't requested, it's activated. But this emotional dynamic is double-edged. Use it carelessly, and it'll ruin the connection you cultivated. Take it too far. Make her feel like she's always competing, constantly striving for your gaze, and you don't ignite desire. You inflict harm. She becomes anxious, reactive, suspicious. You turn from intrigue into intimidation. Pull back too far. Become overly accessible, too predictable, and the magnetism fades. She stops picturing you as a prize. She stops valuing your attention. You become average in her eyes. The balance isn't based on emotion. It's based on strategy. She should subtly feel that you are in demand, that you have options, that others admire you, and yet you chose her. Not because you're playing mind games or trying to spark jealousy, but because your life naturally draws people in. You're not disrespectful. You don't provoke reactions. You simply keep evolving, working towards something real, moving with intent. And that alone makes her see. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here. That truth makes her stay. Now picture this. You're at a social event. A woman comes up to ask a question. You don't panic. You don't ignore her in a show of loyalty. Nor do you flirt to stir insecurity. You respond with calm, grounded confidence like a man sure of himself, with nothing to prove. You're open, but not needy. Magnetic, but not theatrical. And she's watching not just what you say, but how people react to you. The ease, the warmth, the way you carry yourself in the room. That observation shifts everything. Because now she's not evaluating you in isolation, she's viewing you through the eyes of others. Then another moment arises, she opens up, shares something personal. A struggle, a stress, a fear. You listen. You're present, but you don't turn into her emotional caretaker. You don't set up camp inside her emotions. You don't drop your priorities to become her emotional sponge. You listen without dissolving into her world, because the moment she senses that you're no longer grounded, you stop being her anchor and become her emotional release. You're not an on-demand therapy line. You are a man rooted in presence, in purpose, who decides when and how to share it. Because when you lose that center, you stop offering strength and start offering a place to unload. You are not an emotional crutch. You are a man with focus, who gives deliberately. 3 emotional gaps, 3 forces of psychological gravity. Validation, the chemical rush she can't resist. Uncertainty, the flame she can't control. Competition, the primal instinct she can't silence. Each one redefines how she sees you. Each one shapes how deeply she chases, commits, and connects. This isn't manipulation. It's comprehension. And that alone sets you apart from the crowd. Now we descend further. The final 2 emotional gaps aren't meant for everyone. Most men never reach them, not because they're hidden, but because they demand nuance. These aren't tricks, they are foundational truths. They don't create temporary attraction, they ignite lasting obsession. This is the dividing line between those chasing attention and those who truly understand female psychology. The fourth emotional gap reaches into something every woman longs for, but almost no man knows how to offer. And the fifth is what secures her soul before her body. Once you master these, your perception of women will permanently change. You won't be reacting to them. You'll be reading them and she'll feel it without you speaking a word. Emotional gap number 4. This is where the majority of men falter, not because they're incapable, but because they don't recognize what true strength is. She doesn't need a rescuer. She needs a center, a steady force, a calm presence, someone who doesn't crumble when she does. Her emotional storms aren't pleas for rescue. They're tests, not of problem solving, but of resilience. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Real power isn't in control, it's in calm. The man who holds steady while the world unravels commands silent respect. Women are drawn to this man because his emotional state isn't swayed by hers. She returns home upset and you remain composed. She worries and you maintain clarity. Not because you're cold, but because someone must remain grounded in the chaos. Most men mirror her mood. She spirals and they follow. They panic. They rush to fix what didn't need fixing. They react instead of leading. True leadership isn't noise. It's silent command. It's the man who listens without taking on her storm, who offers space without losing his own. When she vents, you don't interrupt with instructions. You don't leap to solutions. You simply say, "That sounds really difficult." You say, "Tell me more." Not to soothe her or win her over, but to show that her emotional chaos doesn't unbalance you. You create a space where she can express herself without needing to manage your reaction, where she can show vulnerability without seeing weakness reflected in you. That space is rare, and women don't forget the men who can hold it. This isn't about being passive. It's about being unwavering. Because if you can't regulate your own state, you can't be her anchor. And if you can't anchor her, you're not her man. You're just one more burden for her to carry. Emotional gap number 5. Psychological personalization. This is where most men fall short, not because they don't try, but because they treat women like general types instead of distinct psychological codes. The final emotional gap is personalization, and it's not about what you say, it's about how you perceive. You don't lead with charm, you lead with insight. Not every woman is the same. Some thrive on affirmation. Some are fueled by mystery. Others are activated by rivalry. Your job isn't to guess, your job is to observe. She constantly checks how she looks, needs frequent reassurance, seeks confirmation before deciding her core emotional gap is validation. You treat compliments like assets, not like party favors. She needs constant communication, gets upset when responses are slow, probes into your schedule, and past her dominant gap is uncertainty. You hold your mystery steady, revealing just enough, but never everything. She mentions other women, asks about your exes, shows jealousy out of nowhere. Her primary gap is competition. You let her feel chosen, but never let that choice become predictable. This is not about manipulation, it's about accuracy. You don't apply the same template to every woman. That's boyhood. You learn her design, her inner framework, her emotional signature. Every woman has a unique structure, a private history, quiet fears, unspoken drives that guide her behavior, even if she never voices them. You want the ethical advantage? Here it is. You don't exploit these gaps. You comprehend them. And by doing so, you connect with her on a level no one has ever reached before. Her craving for validation was born from early pain. You don't belittle it. You help her feel recognized without losing yourself in her need. Her hunger for certainty comes from past betrayals. You don't manipulate it. You offer stability without losing your depth and spontaneity. These emotional gaps aren't flaws, they are part of human wiring. They are pressure points of the psyche. When you understand them, you lead without force. Not by domination, but by insight. You are not the man who breaks her. You are the one who understands her so intimately, so accurately, that you become the only place she can rest without needing to explain herself. And when that happens, you don't just draw her in. You take up residence in parts of her mind she never even knew were open. You don't just win her heart. You unlock the hidden place she guards from the entire world. That's not just connection, that's architecture. And still, this is only the beginning. Power without principle burns out quickly. These tools, validation, unpredictability, rivalry, emotional grounding, and personalization are meaningless in the hands of a man without inner stability, because she will sense the void and she'll disappear. You want true power? Then earn it, build it, embody it. Don't just analyze her psychology, elevate your own. Because the man who sees into her deeper than she sees herself must first conquer the war within his own mind. The 5 gaps final recap: validation, the chemical craving; uncertainty, the paradox she can't resist; competition, the instinct she hides from; emotional leadership, the grounding she longs for; psychological personalization, the code only the rare few can unlock. These are not tricks, they're powerful edges, but they only belong to the man who is worthy of them. Your challenge: choose one. Commit to mastering it for 7 days, not partially, but entirely. Observe how she shifts, how her responses evolve, how the entire dynamic orbits around you, and you haven't even raised your voice. The men she follows don't speak louder, they simply move with more precision. If this resonated, then you've already stepped beyond the ordinary. You're no longer average. You're becoming dangerous.